The Boys Season 4 so far has felt like the most toxic relationship I've ever had. We hate each other, we love each other, we fight, we break up, we make up, and two boys kiss. Eric Kripke is certainly making a lot of bold moves this new season. Dude, I'm gonna be bold as fuck when I say this. I have a theory that Eric Kripke is weeding out the real Boys fans from the bandwagon fans by giving us little short bursts of shit. And if that's the case, well, it's working pretty damn well.
My entire family had been brainwashed by Clover genders like Starlight. I told them that I couldn't speak to them again until they did their own research. It's been 3 years now.
Good for you.
So without further ado, go ahead and get in the oven, shoot up farm animals with Compound V, and let's get straight into it. But before we get into it, this is not a spoiler-free video, but is a continuation of the last video on the channel where I recapped the first 3 episodes. If you haven't seen that one, go ahead and give it a watch and then come back to this one. And with that said, we gotta talk about that lap scene, dude, because, Jesus Christ, that shit was nuts! I said this in the last video and can't stress it enough in this one. Anthony Starr. Holy shit, dude, this guy is in the zone, brother. I don't know where this man has been my entire life, but has already cemented himself and Homelander as one of the most iconic supervillains of all time.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
He might even have to go up on the wall.
And it will be a more beautiful wall.
The fact that Bob Odenkirk and Anthony Starr don't have Emmys has made me completely lose faith in the award system. Every time I want to justify what the boys are doing to take this man down is nullified when Homelander walks on a scene. I can't pray for the downfall of the boy when he's such a diamond and outshines everyone else on screen. There just isn't enough praise in the world for Anthony Starr, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm actually looking forward to the finale, because this is it, man. The end times. Episode 8 is gonna hit, and shit is gonna splatter all over the walls. Homelander is gonna lose his humanity completely and take over the planet, and I don't think we're prepared. Because if what we have seen up until now is the tame Homelander, I am giddy as a fucking schoolgirl just thinking about when this god actually busts out of his chains. Frenchie and Colin are done.
What you say?
Door shut. Possibilities non-existent. Ambiguity 0. Which makes my fucking blood boil. Dude, like, I just spent the entire last week burning down my own channel defending this creative decision. And they just took that storyline behind the shed and shot it in the fucking face like 1 episode later. What the fuck was I defending then? Why did I do this to myself?
What the hell? What have you done to me, Morty?
And this goes so much further than just the relationship, because it feels like Kripke has traded deep for Frenchie in his little I don't know what to do with this character bingo card. Because finally, it feels like Deep is actually here to serve a fucking purpose. You know, it only took 4 seasons. But as for Frenchie, beats me, man. They handed him a script that says await further instructions and just threw him in a fucking jail cell. Like he's not even in the 6th episode at all. And the more I think about it, the more I start spiraling down this little rabbit hole called bad writing. And not to say that, you know, he started off great, but, you know, he started off like here. But every episode that goes by, he just becomes like less and less important to the plot. And now he's just not even here. Which is such a shame because Frenchie is the most diverse character of the boys group. Like there isn't a single crime he hasn't committed.
Agent Sanchez, arrest these men, both of them.
Steve,
Oh,
come
whoa!
on, please.
You fucking kidding me? Arrest me for what?
For multiple counts of every fucking crime under the fucking sun.
They could very well explore that, like they did with little Nina in season 3, which was a plotline that I fucking loved. It was a great departure from the norm and gave us so much backstory into Frenchie's character. And at least for the first 3 episodes, it gave the impression that that's where they were going. And suddenly, for no reason, the train just careened off the tracks. And naturally, this leads to Kimiko being left out to dry, because without her French sidekick, well, then there's no dynamic duo. However, silver lining, Kimiko and Huey make such a fantastic substitute. I did not realize how much I needed these two to make a combo until now, because they're polar opposites in every aspect. Physically, emotionally, mentally, they could not be farther apart. And you know what they say about opposites. Another character that feels lost this season is Starlight. And no, I'm not gonna bring it up, because I already did. She just feels powerless this season, quite literally. And look, she's never been a staple of the series or incredibly significant to the overarching narrative, but her character was at least useful when she was in the 7, because she was the inside man. She would feed the boys information and keep them safe when Kimiko wasn't around. Now, she doesn't do either, or anything other than sit around sulking and being a shoulder for Huey to cry on. And this is what I mean when I say the show feels like a toxic relationship. Because when a show is bad, it's just bad. Or when a show is good, it's just good. Or maybe we'll get an in-between, you know, like Game of Thrones. That it was good, and then it wasn't. This season is both. At the same time. You know, like I see Homelander, and I see, you know, Butcher, or Victoria Newman, and I think, wow, this show is fucking great! You know, but then I see Starlight, and Deep, and Frenchie, and I think, man, this shit sucks. And I don't care what anyone says. Starlight was not fucking pregnant. There, I said it. That shit is not canon. Ooh, that was gay. And has to be one of the worst, most contrived plot points they've ever written in any season ever. And this is meant to be a huge plot point this season. So for all of those out there complaining about Out of Nowhere, congratulations! You actually did get an honest to God out of nowhere plot point. Like, what the fuck kind of sloppy, shitty writing is this? What am I watching, a Saw movie? Where like every installment is just a series of, hey, guess what? I bet you didn't know this.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Not once, ever was this hinted at. And now, fuck you, this is the meta now. This is one of the many poor story threads they've done this season, by far the worst. And look, it wouldn't be such a big problem if the plot point itself wasn't so important to the narrative. Because Sage herself sets up this entire charade to have Starlight beat Firecracker to a fucking pulp on national television, causing her to lose the Starlight House, causing her to lose her political affiliations with President Singer, or, you know, soon to be. Basically leaving her in the dirt. And none of this would have happened had Starlight not lost her shit like that. Something that Starlight would never do, given the character that we know she is. But Robert, an abortion is a pretty touchy subject that maybe left her with some trauma. Don't you think that it would make sense that she would lose her cool like that if they made fun of it on national television? Hey, remember when Billy Butcher shot her point blank with a fucking Barrett? Or when Homelander shredded one of the closest people to her in her life on a rooftop? Or I don't know, when Black Noir went like Doc Ock on her ass and kidnapped her mother? Remember that? Because all those seem like pretty good times to lose your shit like that. And yet she didn't. You know, even Sage herself celebrates with some bullshit about like first pebble down a mountain. You made the fucking pebble!
Where'd you learn that trick, Aang? I made it up. Wow!
But it is not all bad. Robert Singer is a pretty interesting character that I wish we could get a little bit more of. I mean, he's very clearly useful, like he's runner-up for the President of the United States, which is basically the world. And even if he's not directly affiliated with Starlight, we know for a fact that he's working with Grace Mallory and the CIA, and even MM to an extent. So I don't think I'm crazy in suggesting that he could be doing a little bit more. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying, you know, make him a main character or anything, but we've had non-boys, non-soup allies before. He could be one too. The best thing, though, about these last 3 episodes was my boy Huey. Ooh! What are you talking about, boy? He's not a boy. He's a man. My man. Huey has developed cancerous levels of big dick energy because bro is just big dick in it this season. If you showed me clips of Huey season 1 and Huey season 4, I would think it's 2 different shows. He has outgrown himself completely by the 6th episode and is taking action and making decisions that I never knew he'd be capable of. He is unrecognizable in the best of ways and has managed to crawl his slimy, skinny ass all the way up my favorite characters list this season. And fortunately for me, he is not the only member of the Campbell family that I'm gonna be jizzing all over.
Yes!
Because Simon Pegg is a dormant beast that woke up for 1 hour to flex all the acting muscles on the planet on the 5th episode. Like, oh my god, dude. His performance has out-Pizza the Hut.
No one out-pizzas the Hut.
If ever there was an Emmy clip, it's this one.
Dad?
I gotta go.
Yeah, wait, just listen, I can explain everything, all right? Why don't you just come with us?
I can. I'm sorry. I've got to take Huey to the Vought Company store. He's saving up for a Tech Knight doll. He calls it an action figure, but you know, it's a doll.
Dad, I'm Huey. I'm right here.
You're not Huey. He's 11.
Hugh, why don't we go back to your room?
And lastly, I like how both Hugh Sr. and Huey have teleporting S powers. I think that's just great attention to detail. A-Train has lived up to my predicament and is finally turning over a new leaf. And for the first time ever, he actually got his superhero moment. Go A-Train! Never thought I'd say that. I hope he enjoys it while it lasts because, my friends, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is what we in the film industry like to call a dead giveaway. He's breaking good, growing a conscience, helping the boys, getting his superhero moment, and finally even being forgiven by Huey himself. And if you haven't read the tea leaves by now, let me go ahead and spell it out for you. They're tying up all the little loose ends of his character, bringing him full circle before they take him out to pasture.
That's it for me.
Just like A-Train, I gotta wrap this up. They did it, man. They really did it. They did a Fight Club. In a shocking twist, Butcher was the narrator all along. And don't get me wrong, it was a good twist, but the signs were there for sure. If you have a keen eye for detail, like me, then you saw this coming a mile away. because we never see Kessler interact with anyone who's not Butcher, and even Samir himself doesn't directly acknowledge him. And while the Fight Club comparisons are
inevitable,
I think this twist is more in line with The Sixth Sense rather than Fight Club. Either way, it was a good twist. I enjoyed it, and I'm actually pretty excited to see the Kessler Venom storyline unfold, because not only do we have Venom now, we also have Spider-Man. And I will never see a Spider-Man movie or Zendaya the same ever again. In conclusion, these first 6 episodes, just like the last 12 years of Call of Duty, have played with my emotions one too many times. While the flaws are few and far between, they stick out like a sore thumb when they do show up and even somewhat overshadow the rest of the season because they're such huge gaping holes. Don't you even fucking dare. If anything, I'll say this. I'm glad we're getting this out of the way now rather than later. Because once season 5 drops, that's it. It's gone. And if Game of Thrones taught us anything, it's that you cannot fuck up on the last season. It will forever taint your show and its legacy. I'm praying that Kripke takes a long look in the mirror and straightens out the show, because right now we're at a breaking point. And the power to course correct or crash and burn is entirely in his hands. I'm very optimistic though, especially because of these last 3 episodes, which were far better than the first 3, but not perfect by any means. If I had to rate them, I would give them a 9 out of 10. And if this is any indication of how the show is going, then I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the next 2 or the last 2 episodes are gonna be a 10 out of 10. Hit that big red button underneath so you don't miss a single upload on the channel, and be sure to check out the latest upload where I had a bigger anxiety attack than MM. Also, check out the latest boys video if you haven't already. Leave a like and a comment letting me know what other videos or movies or shows you'd like to see here on the channel in the future, and follow me on social media so you can get exclusive updates on when videos will go live, shoot me some ideas, and get exclusive short form content. Links down below. But anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya in the next one.